self-care warriors. Welcome back to Self-Care Haven. Today I wanted to talk to you about something that often happens when we are in an abusive relationship with a narcissist or a psychopath. And that is the fact that they will go out of their way to flaunt the fact that they are giving what you asked for from them many times to a new victim. And why do they do this? Why do they go out of their way to flaunt the fact that they do this? It's not just that they simply move on to someone else and they decided to suddenly give this thing to this person. No, this is something very specific that you asked for, and they want to ensure that you feel less than, and they want to make you feel like you weren't deserving of what they had to offer. And that's why they withheld it from you, when in reality they deliberately withheld it from you to devalue you, to gaslight you, to make you feel like you weren't worthy enough of receiving basic human decency in that relationship. And when they give it to a new victim, trust that it comes with a price, because that new victim will eventually become an emotional punching bag later on for the narcissist or the psychopath to take out all of their pathological traits on. Because a character disordered person like this has a pattern. They have a pattern of abusing, and they have a very unique way of making you feel like you're the only one who's experiencing their abuse, because they gaslight you so often into believing that you're the problem, that you're defective, that you are deserving of what they're dishing out. And to do this, they will often say things like, "You're the one who pushed me to this point. No one else has ever had a problem like this with me. No one else has ever complained about this with me. I've never been so angry with someone. I've never done this or that. You really pushed me to the limit." Meanwhile, you're just politely holding them accountable, and that's why they raged. So you know from dealing with them personally that even your kindness, even your politeness, even your most soft-spoken attempts at holding them accountable for their heinous actions leads to narcissistic rage. So knowing that, you can better analyze what's actually going on behind the scenes, because what might be happening is that they're flaunting this new victim. They're trying to make it seem like they're giving this new person everything that you ever asked for, whether that was date nights, exclusivity, commitment, marriage, children, whatever it is that you asked for. It could be something as small and specific as being taken out to dinner to a marriage proposal. It doesn't matter what it is, so long as it's something so specific that you asked for, that you made a point of communicating to them, "Hey, I would really like this thing. I would want us to advance in this way. I would want something like this. I would want this or that." If you've communicated to them that and they've discarded and devalued you, and only to move on to a new victim where they suddenly start giving all these things to the new victim, and not only that, but they go out of their way to hoover you in some way. They may call to check up on you. They may look at your story on social media to get you thinking about them. They may try to provoke you into contacting them, or if they know that you're already looking at their social media, they will strategically do certain things to make sure that you are provoked into contacting them. And they do this beforehand because they want to set you up. They want to set you up so that you go on and go fishing for whatever it is that they want you to find, and you find it. And that thing shows you that they seem to be treating their new victim better. And that feeds into all the gaslighting and all the lies and the devaluation that they fed you about yourself, that there's something about you that's defective, that there's something about you that's different that provokes this abuse from them, when in fact this is a serial predator. This is someone who has preyed upon people for most of their lives. They've learned how to mimic emotions. They've learned the craft of the pity ploy. They've learned how to love bomb their victims. They've learned how to engage in impression management. They know how to triangulate their victims effectively to make them compete over them. They know how to build a harem. They have all these skills that entangled you in the relationship, and they have set you up to be the chaser during that relationship, because remember, they had to pursue you because you were likely out of their league. They had to chase you down. They had to convince you to even be with them. They had to convince you that they were a worthy enough partner in the beginning. And then once you were hooked, once you were invested, they pulled the rug from underneath you. They may have subjected you to cycles of seductive withholding. Therapist Andrea Schneider has a great article on seductive withholding, which I encourage you to check out. I'll leave a link in the description box below. But basically what they're doing is that they will suddenly start to seduce you and then suddenly pull away. They will deliberately withhold. And these types of cycles are meant to make you feel on edge. They're meant to make you feel desirable one minute and then undesirable the next. They're meant to push you off the pedestal so you work harder to get back on it. And they condition you into believing that, like a gambler at a slot machine, this intermittent reinforcement will lead to some sort of reward at the end, because randomly they will give you these rewards, and that gets you addicted to the dopamine rush. That gets you addicted to them through a chemical cocktail, and it strengthens the trauma bond to them. So when you see them devaluing you, discarding you, supposedly moving on to a new victim and giving that new victim everything you ever asked for, remember, it comes with a price. That new victim has no idea of what's in store for them. They have no idea about the man or the woman behind the mask. And that man or woman is a vile human being with no empathy, who has callous, unemotional traits, who is cruel, who is unethical, who is a pathological liar, who pretends to be someone they are not, who is a wolf in sheep's clothing. So that person is being groomed for that purpose of making you jealous, for the purpose of making you feel devalued so that you chase after them. And they can have their cake and eat it too, because if you're chasing after them, they get to call you crazy, they get to call you obsessed. And if you react in any way to their triangulation, they can make it seem as if you are the one who is pursuing them, even though they're the ones who pursued you first. Again, they're setting you up to be the chaser in this dynamic once more, even after the relationship has ended. And that's why it's so important to stay no contact with these types of predatory individuals, because all they're going to do is continue these manipulations. They're going to continue these mind games. And sooner or later, the new victim is also going to be subject to this devaluation and this triangulation if they are not already. They will be the ones who are told, you drove me to this point. What about my old victim? They didn't do this. Old victim being you. They're going to compare the new victim to you at some point and their other victims, because that's what they do. They get off on triangulation. They get off on rivalry. They get off on the competition over them. Now, I'm not talking about, and these people do not have to be in any way appealing in order to get away with this. They can be the most vile human beings on the planet inside and out, and they can still get away with this because they know how to manipulate. They know how to pull the wool from over a victim's eyes and make them feel so special and unique that the victim is drawn to them, regardless of whether they were attracted to them in the first place, regardless of whether or not the victim wanted to be with that person in the first place. So if you are going through this right now, just know that cognitive dissonance regarding this may be very strong, because you were gaslighted into believing that you were not deserving of the things that you asked for, but you are more than deserving. And in fact, you deserve to have those things from someone who is actually worthy of you, someone who is not going to give with the intent of getting back, someone who is going to give without a malicious intent, because these types of individuals, whoever they're giving to, is going to pay the price for it. They're going to be psychologically abused and manipulated. They're going to be used as an emotional punching bag for the narcissist. They are going to be used for these triangulations. They're going to be used until the psychopath gets bored of them. And that's why you can't trust whatever you're seeing, because you have to also remember all the unethical things that they did to you. You have to remember all the unempathic things that they did to you, all the awful things that they subjected you to. This is a person who is so disordered that they have no problem with pathologically lying. They have no problem with deliberately provoking you to make you feel bad. They have no problem in lashing out at you for no apparent reason. They have no problem disrespecting you. This is not a person with a moral compass. This is a person who is a manipulator, a predator. This is someone who will continue to terrorize victims, will continue to hunt for new victims, will continue to love bomb, devalue, and triangulate, will continue to set up these scenarios to make other people jealous. And this is not someone you want to be with in the long run. You deserve someone who's going to give you what you wanted, who is going to consider what you asked for and do so in a healthy manner. They're going to fulfill those requests in a healthy, loving manner with no need to terrorize you in return. So if you're going through this right now, just know that it is not your fault, that they did deliberately orchestrate this, that they are rigging the game to get you to chase them, that they are flaunting this in order to gaslight and devalue you further, to make you feel unworthy and undeserving. But you are so deserving, you are so worthy, and you deserve to have whatever it is you asked for with a worthy, loving, emotionally fulfilling partner who isn't going to abuse you after they give these things to you. If you have escaped the claws of a psychopath or a narcissist, you are the lucky one. You are the lucky one to have seen behind the mask early on, before you get married to them, before you have children with them, or if that time has already passed, you are lucky to at least have escaped at all, because there are some people who never escape. There are some people who get trapped and entangled, and they forever stay in these types of relationships, unfortunately. And they never know any kind of other life. They never know that they are worthy of something so much better. And if you want to take a break from dating and relationships, learn how to give some of the things that you want and ask it for to yourself, so you can get used to and accustomed to getting that, and know that you deserve to be treated that way, so you won't be settling for less in the future. For example, if you ask for more romance or chivalry or generosity, be generous towards yourself, treat yourself. Make sure that you know that you can provide for you. And that way, when someone else comes with a half, you're not going to take it, because you treat yourself in even better fashion. And the next time someone tries to shortchange you and makes you feel like you are not deserving of something that you asked for, remember, these types know how to nag and lower your self-esteem to make you feel like you should settle for less. They know that when you lower someone's self-esteem, that person is more likely to comply with whatever you're demanding. So they know all of this, and they know how to trick you and manipulate you into settling for less. So the first time someone tries to make you settle for less, you have to walk away before it gets worse, before this whole flaunting thing happens, before you get triangulated, because rest assured, that person, if they're a predator, they will rub it in your face that they are giving that thing that you asked for to someone else. And instead of going through all of that, it's so much better to just walk away the first time someone is not able to give you what you want, and it's a reasonable expectation. You don't have to negotiate your values. You don't have to negotiate your standards. Women, especially in the dating world, I'm talking to you because we have been socialized to lower our standards in the hookup culture and in this modern dating world. But this time, you're going to have to hold on to yourself, because if you don't have any standards for who you date and who you get into a relationship with, then how is it going to feel when you see that narcissistic predator that you've been wasting your time on and settling for crumbs for, starts giving the whole loaf to someone else during the love bombing phase? It's not going to feel good. And in order to avoid that trauma, it's better to just simply call their bluff and fold as soon as you see that they're not willing to give you what you want and deserve the first time around. Walk away when that happens, so that you don't get stuck in this kind of triangle again, that you don't get stuck in this sort of doubting your self-worth, because you are so worthy, you are so beautiful, you are so brilliant, you are so kind and empathic and so loving and generous, and you deserve the world. You deserve someone who's going to give you the world. And as you're rebuilding your self-concept and you're rebuilding your self-esteem, give yourself the world, so you know that this is the way that you deserve to be treated, this is the way that you are accustomed to being treated. And remember all the people who did treat you well, because those kinds of examples also help, whether it be friends or ex-lovers or ex-relationship partners or dating partners. The people who did treat you well in the past, remember them as well, because that is how you deserve to be treated, and that is how you're going to be treated from now on moving forward. So I hope this video has helped validate you, has helped you gain some insight as to why a narcissistic or psychopathic predator would do such a thing in order to hurt their victims, and just to remember and reality check with yourself about the fact that it is cruel, that it is deliberate, that it is manufactured chaos in order to provoke you. So don't react. Instead, use this as fuel to level up exponentially, whether it be financially, socially, emotionally, physically, it doesn't matter, or even in all facets of your life and experience. I want you to commit to yourself and dedicate yourself into believing that you can do better in so many different ways, and that you deserve the life that you're hoping and dreaming for. Use this experience as motivation, as incentive, as as a way to propel you forward so that you are proving all these facets of your existence, that you can rebuild and